58.7% ABV, natural color, non-chill filtered, a whiskey that I have been wanting to try for quite some time. We'll talk about what it is a little bit later on. I'm going to do things a little bit different. Without cheating, maybe stop the video at any time when you think you know the answer. Let's see who gets it first. Well, very high ABV. And I thought to myself, well, be careful. I poured this one maybe 5 minutes ago. And I thought, well, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I put the wrong bottle. It is a sample. I thought it cannot be. So I woke it up a little bit. Holy hell. And when it comes out and it tells you, listen, this is not something that you're going to play around with. This is a big, strong boy. And the flavors, once it settles down, 10-15 seconds, it just mellows out. It gives you that lovely, light, pleasant, little fruity notes coming out, a little bit of a toffee note coming out, a little bit of a peat coming out. It reminds me a little bit of a preserved lemon or even some grapefruit juice. Just a hint of a grapefruit juice, a little bit of that citrus note coming out. And then it feels like it just calms down a little bit too much. Wake it up again. And then bam, you have that alcohol. There's a youthful alcohol note. It is a no age statement whiskey. Another hint. It is from the Highlands. Another hint. And once you wake it up, you get that intensified alcohol notes. You get that little bit of a nail polish remover note. And quickly it just settles down again. And it feels like it keeps on changing. I get more fruity notes. I get a little bit more sweetness coming out. That peat, that initial peat that I got on the nose, it feels like it's going down like at a steep curve. It's less peated for me now. A little bit more sweetness coming through. And a little bit more of that toffee notes coming out. Once it settles down. And of course, you have to wake it up again. And then bam, it gives you a little bit of a green note. A little bit of a just freshly cut grass note coming out. Or a little bit of a basil note that I get. But not sticking your nose in it. Just a hint of that greenness that comes out. I kind of like this one. Can you believe it? The whiskey lover. Again, with something that's peated. Well, not heavily peated. And it's not sherry cask finish. And I do like it. It reminds me a little bit of that Ledaig 10 type of whiskey. That lovely sweetness. The smoke is still a hint of that. It's not an in-your-face smoke. It's not a lot of iodine smoke. And not a lot of hospital. Could be a little bit of a TCP note in it. But just a hint of that. So quite pleasant on the nose. On the taste, cheers. On the taste, wow. That packs a punch. The alcohol is strong. The alcohol is sharp. It's punchy. It kicks you right in the taste buds. Within a quarter of a second, it just disappears. And then you're left with a lovely sweetness. And I was a little bit surprised on the peated level. Way more peat on the taste than on the nose. And then all of a sudden that you are left with sweet peat and quite a lot of oak notes that comes out. It is, of course, a little bit of a marriage between ex-bourbon casks. They also use a little bit of a sherry hogsheads in 45 barrel type of situation, of which 5 of them will be from the sherry and 45 will be from the ex-bourbon. Oh, but it is lovely on the nose. And it feels like every time that I go back, I find a little bit something, a little bit more vanilla coming out now. It is really nice. Strange thing for me to say, but nice. Let me just try again on the taste. Made a little bit of a mistake there. A little bit of a big sip. I don't think it's a good idea to keep on drinking at this level. But within that couple of seconds, it is just lovely. A little bit more oak than I expected to have. There's a little bitterness coming through, a little bit of that espresso note coming through, but not unpleasant. And I think it also helps. It is quite sweet as well, and it also quite peated on the taste. And I think it also helps just to create a little bit of a balance. The after effect is just a lovely sweet smokiness that's left in the mouth. A little bit of that TCP, but also a little bit of a artificial smoke. You get this artificial liquid smoke. I use that in my biltong making or my beef jerky making. And that is that little note that I get on that smokiness. So definitely going to have to add a little bit of water. Don't want to drag out the video too long. But this one at 58.7% ABV, I think we need a little bit of water. So I do have some nice clean water. My measuring tool, I have about, I think it's 25 milliliters left on this one. Oh, that vanilla within, that vanilla is really coming through now. And the funny thing is that peat is almost disappeared now on the nose. I'm completely climatized. My nose is rejecting that little bit of a peat and just giving me that lovely sweet notes. Now I'm going to go straight on with 1 teaspoon of water, 5 milliliters. Well, for the people that ask, why don't you get a dropper? I got a dropper. It's on its way. Amazon promise it will be here in the next day or two. So we'll be using some droppers. Well, the funny thing is, I think I bought about 20 of them. Cheapest chips, but I only wanted one, but you have to buy a pack. So we'll see how that works in the future. So 1 teaspoon is a little bit of a cloudiness already appealing, not much. But I did also see there's quite a lot of impurities in this whiskey. Now, definitely not the glass, I did wash it, but there's definitely a little bit of impurities. Looks like little dust particles floating around. Immediately with that 1 teaspoon of water and that little bit of agitation, it just, well, I think it's a perfect amount of water. That roughness, sharpness of the alcohol is no longer present. Oh, okay, I spoke a little bit too soon. It's quite punchy still. But there's a more sweetness. I don't get any peat now. I think toffee, caramel, that citrus note, no longer there. A little bit of that oaky, dusty note is still there. On the taste of a little bit of water, still very strong, still hot, not so sharp anymore. I think that 1 teaspoon really helped. Let me just try again. Oh my word, this is nice. This is really nice. Now I think I can add at least another teaspoon of water. That means I can bring up the drinkability of it. If I can feel the warmth going down the throat, although it was a little bit too big a sip, but it is nice. Sweet toffee notes, caramel notes. No more, not really fruity notes coming out. So bear with me. I'm going to add, I think I'm going to add another teaspoon of water. And I'm sure it will be handling it like a champ. So 2 teaspoons of water. Cheers. I think that level for me is perfect, even waking it up. There's still that little burning sensation on the nose. More caramel, more vanillas coming out. That citrus note is completely gone. And almost no peat left. 2 teaspoons of water, taste. It's a winner. It's sweet. That's more drinkable. That punchy, evaporating alcohol, no longer there. It's perfect at this level. The lovely sweetness, that caramel notes, the sweet notes, that peat is definitely still on the taste. Just want to make sure. This is fantastic. For a guy that's not really into peated whiskies, I think this is something that I can manage to drink every night. I think this is definitely, I thought by the looks of it, I thought to myself, yeah, maybe this is going to be a nice summer drink. I don't think it's a summer drink. Well, it's summer in Belgium. It's bloody hot in Belgium. And I can feel the temperature rising from the stomach right to the head. And there's some liquid, I think, coming out on the forehead. Oh, but it is dangerously friendly. And for somebody that don't like peated whiskey, I think you'll be quite impressed with this one. Now, I've been talking about the Ledaig 10 for so many people, telling them this is going to be the best peated whiskey that you will ever have. I'm not so sure anymore. Now, just to make sure, I do have a wee drop of the Ledaig 10. It is this one. It's been open for quite a while. As you can see, I'm not a big drinker. I spend more time tasting whiskey than actually drinking them, making reviews than actually drinking them. But I thought to myself, well, what a good comparison. This one or the Ledaig? A completely different whiskey. Completely different on the nose. The Ledaig it's a little more towards a chocolatey note, and more that toffee note, and more that little raisin toffee trail mix with a chocolate bits. So still fantastic on the nose for me, the Ledaig. Oh, but bloody hell, it's also so drinkable. This is quite a difficult one for me. I didn't want to compare. Both of them are really nice. Both of them, I will suggest you give it a try. Put a Ledaig in a glass, put this one in the glass, and you tell me what you think. Well, I'm going to put you out of the misery. So tonight on this one, maybe a lot of you have guessed it. It is the Ardnamurchan, I hope I pronounce it correctly, AD 02.22. So February of 22 for 58.7% ABV. It is a Highland whiskey. I think it's the western part of the Highlands. Natural color, non-chill filtered, and it is absolutely stunning. Something that I would definitely like to put in a bar for my friends that are not into heavily peated whiskey. How many people guessed this one? How many people have enjoyed this one? Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you got it right. Tell me at what stage of this review did you get it correct. I might put a timestamp in there if you want. And tell me a little bit of your feelings with regards to this Ardnamurchan. Absolutely stunning. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for the people that's going to play this game with me. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.